Are you trying to dominate your fantasy football league? Do you want so many championship rings it's impossible to sign autographs? Well, crack open a beer, pour yourself a glass of bourbon, and settle in, because you've come to the right place. Welcome to HammerCast. We're here to talk all things football, barbecue, bourbon, and beer. Here are your hosts, Kenneth Smith, David Stidham, and Chad Taylor. It's time to grind.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the HammerCast Network. We got a good one for you folks. Hey, we've got my good friends and partners as always, David Stidham and Chad Taylor. We got, of course, Dave is Mr. Hammerjack and Chad is the Sledgehammer. And then, guys, we've got something really special for you tonight. He is the biggest barbecue influencer in the world, you guys. He's got, just on his YouTube alone, he's got over 1 million subscribers. He's got videos with 10 million views. He's award-winning Pitmaster. You guys know him. It's Mr. Malcom Reed. How you doing, Malcolm?
I'm doing fantastic. That's quite the introduction, man. I've never had one like that.
If we don't do anything, we got the intro right.
Yeah, well, hey. Well, you know what? If I can do anything, I guess I'll do that part. But, hey, we're going to talk a lot of fun stuff tonight, guys. We're going to talk a little bit of barbecue. We're going to talk to Malcolm and kind of ask him some questions about how he got started and kind of his journey along the way and his YouTube creation and how he created that empire. And then Malcolm's got a fantasy football draft coming up this weekend, and we're going to dive into that a little bit, and we'll talk some fantasy football, and we're just going to have a good time. We're going to kind of wing it and just chit chat and just hang out and have a good time. So anyway, Dave, what are you drinking on tonight, big boy?
You know what? I am going with the old, something I grew up with and just kind of keeping it cool. Jim Beam tonight, buddy.
Jim Beam.
Little Jim Beam, giant ice cube, and a little bit of Coke Zero.
Never heard of it.
Anyway.
What do you got, Mr. Chad?
Well, considering the company we have tonight, there was only one choice, and I had to go with this Twisted X Texas Pitmaster Prime Pilsner. So
nice.
Down here in Texas, we call that the official beer of barbecue, and so there was no other choice.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, if you get too hot back there with those flames, you just keep sucking those.
Toss it over my shoulder.
Those Pitmaster down and cool off. What do you got, Malcolm? What you sipping on, Biggin?
I'm a little bit south of Dave there. I've got a little Jack and Ginger in mine, a little Lynchburg brown water. So, yeah, I'm keeping it old school.
That's cool.
Love
Lynchburg's in our home state here. In fact, Chad grew up not far at all from Lynchburg, and I went to college for a couple of years with Chad down there, technically in Lynchburg.
One of my favorite memories of my life was finishing 6th overall at the World Championship in Lynchburg at the Jack Daniels World Championship.
Well, it's so far out in the country that I don't want to get in anybody trouble, or anybody in trouble. But when I was in college, one of the guys shot a deer off the roof of our dorm. Seriously.
Hey,
the deer was not on the roof of our dorm. He was.
Your logo on my conference room, are you?
No, man, I like that. I was thinking, hey, what you got going
Pretty
on?
Clean, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, guys, I'm doing not Jack, but I'm doing the old Captain Morgan's tonight, and that's kind of what I do every night. It seems like when we do these shows, but. Well, anyway, Dave, since you are a fellow pitmaster, I thought maybe you could kind of lead Malcolm into getting us going and what we want to talk about a little bit.
That's cool. And Malcolm and I have been friends for a very, very long time. Like I mentioned earlier, when we were talking before we got the show started, Malcolm was very instrumental in getting me into competition barbecue. Not coaxing me, but just through his videos and through his lessons on his website. He is a true pioneer of barbecue, and I tease him about this, but I'm very sincere when I mean it. When I say it, is if there's a Mount Rushmore of barbecue personalities, he's going to be the first one on there. because I truly believe that Malcom has brought more people. And this is me saying this. I'm not saying this because he's in company. I've said this everywhere. There's nobody that's brought more people to barbecue, whether it be backyard barbecue, pro barbecue, than Malcom Reed. And so it's an honor to have you here, Malcom. And I'll never forget, one of the first things I did was I downloaded a competition checklist of all the things you need to bring with you to your first competition. And it was like this big deep, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm overwhelmed or if I'm like pumped up about it, but I got all of it. Don't remember if I used half of it, but I did well. And so, but Malcom, when did it really start for you in barbecue?
Well,
Start when you were 6.
It goes back to a competition barbecue for me. And, I grew up in South Haven, which you being from Memphis, probably know where South Haven is. Well, all those little towns around were doing the Memphis MA network back then. It was before they switched to MBN. My town, South Haven, had South Haven Spring Fest, and it was a tune-up that all the big teams used for Memphis MA.
I've cooked it.
Yeah, so you know exactly what it is. Well, I grew up going to that contest. All of my buddies' dads, they had barbecue teams, and we ran around, went to the carnival and all that stuff. As we got old enough, we started wanting to cook, and the old guys wanted to step down, and, we kind of took their place. And for us, it was more of a party tailgate type atmosphere.
Yeah, right.
We didn't care about the cooking. We were there to chase women, have a few drinks, and have fun with our buddies.
Yeah. But what a lot of people don't know is the women at the barbecue contest aren't really, chasers.
Well, hey, at Memphis in May is different.
Memphis in May.
Yeah. Well,
a barbecue 6 or a barbecue 10?
Back then, it wasn't like KCBS. I mean, it was a huge party everywhere.
I know.
You had all these contests that it was about that Thursday night. When we started setting up on Wednesday, so we would have a Tuesday night party, a Thursday night party, a Friday night party, and by the time Saturday got there, nobody wanted to do the contest.
Yeah, right.
They're turning in something from 7-Eleven.
That's right. But we started taking it serious. Me and my brother ended up getting a few calls here and there, and we decided we were going to start concentrating on winning. And our team went from 20 people down to just a few core guys, and we just kept with it. Then I met my wife, I guess, in 2004, and she would hear me talking on the phone to all my buddies. All the conversation was about barbecue and what we were going to do and giving them tips and helping them out. She told me that I really needed to, look at doing something with that. So she said, let's start a newsletter. This was back when newsletters were really big.
Right.
So, I said, nobody's going to read it. What am I going to write about? She said, just write about competition barbecue, whatever you're doing. So I did, and, it was free, and we had a website. It was Killer Hogs at the time. And
was it more of a team page?
It started out as a MySpace page back in the day.
MySpace, yes.
How cool.
KillerHogs.com, and then she said, well, we need to call this newsletter something. What do you want to call it? And I said, I don't know. How about How to Barbecue Right? I didn't have a better name, and she said, okay, that'll work for now. We can change it down the road, And so we started calling it How to Barbecue Right. And, I had first newsletter. I think I had 10 or 15 people read it because we'd get a little report. And I was excited. I was like, this is great. 15 people read what I wrote.
Right.
I'm no English.
That's us.
Yeah, we know that feeling.
And then, from there, guys, it grew. And then YouTube got to be a thing. And my wife was looking for a way. It was about 2006. We had a company that we were doing some stuff for sponsorship, and they wanted some video of what we were doing at the contest. And I was like, great, they'll send us a little flip camera and we can record it and we can email it to them. Well, by the time we filmed all this, the file was so big back then you couldn't email files that big.
You still can't.
Yeah, you still can't. Still you can't. And so she said, well, I've been doing some YouTube work with the business she was working for. We can load it on YouTube and share a link. And I was like, well, that sounds easy enough. So we had to create a channel. So we made How to Barbecue Right, and we shared that stuff. And then she said, well, let's use the flip camera and start recording some of this stuff you're writing newsletters about. And because I used to, I would just take pictures and put them in my newsletter with, half a recipe. I didn't know anything about writing a recipe.
Right.
And it grew from there. It started out mainly competition stuff. If you go back and look at the old Yellow Kitchen days, a lot of it's like, the first one's chicken trimming and brisket trimming. And
I remember that chicken trimming one, and it's a mess.
Oh, yeah. We didn't edit back then. We didn't have good sound. I mean, a lot of it was just films of hands and knives and gloves. And then we've just learned, we didn't have any experience filming or editing or cooking. I mean, other than competition barbecue. But I've had a passion for it, and I just decided then that I was going to keep doing it. and I was going to share what I was doing and my journey along the way. And I feel like if you go back and watch my YouTube videos, you can come on that journey with me and see how, I've got to where I am today. So it's amazing. The biggest thing I can say about it is if guys want to start it, just start and keep doing it. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Once you get going, just was it important that you have a consistent release schedule? I mean, or when did you get to the point where you were, here's the schedule, here's what we're going to do, and or is it still not that way? You just do it and you just do it.
We've always, ever since we did the newsletter, Rochelle, she was internet marketing. That's what she did when she got out of college. She went to work for a company doing their internet marketing. And back then they would preach, you have to release on a schedule. And so she did some studying and she figured, we tested when we were sending these newsletters out, and we noticed that when we sent out stuff on Thursday before lunch, that we would get read any more day than any other day of the week, because people are sitting on their lunch break and they're looking for something to do on the weekend.
Right.
So it was just natural for us to start releasing our videos on Thursday. And we've always tried to stick to that. People know, they start looking in their inbox. Used to, you looked in your inbox, and now they go to YouTube or look for that notification.
They get that little bell.
Yeah, that we've dropped something on Thursday. And so that's really, we identified that early on, and that's helped us along the way.
Wow.
Guys, if you're not one of the 10 million people that saw one of his videos, you can find Malcom. Just go to YouTube and you can Google Malcom Reed, or you can Google how to barbecue right.
Or killer hogs.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is if you, this is what's really cool, and this is what's impressive, and I was not aware that your wife is the whole reason for your success. So you make sure she knows I appreciate that.
Usually are, right?
That's right. I'm very thankful and very grateful that the Lord put her in my life.
I'm the same way with my wife. Of course, she don't even know I do this. But the fact is if anybody just goes to Google and just goes in the search bar and types in how to, a whole list of things come down, you're usually right in that top 10 without even typing in B yet. How did you do that? Is it just over time or?
It's been over time, and Google likes us because we always put out content, and the content gets such positive reviews. I think people share it, people like it, people comment on it. We've always been great about trying to answer comments and, just keep that image up, and we've worked really hard on trying to be there for people and helping them.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, guys, helping the next guy get better, I think.
I recognize that you try to answer as many comments as possible, and you get a ton of them. I mean, when you get 10 million views on a video, or 5 million views with the Heath Riles rib video, and some of your videos, they only get 200,000-300,000, which is so funny to say, because it's just a dream for most content creators. You're probably in that top 5% of all creators, and the fact that you take the time and you answer a lot of these questions, and you try to find a way to make them feel good about sharing, that I think that goes a long way too. It shows to who your character is. And I've been to a lot of YouTube pages where you may as well not comment, because they're not going to even like your comment. And so I congratulate you guys for being so proactive when it comes to interacting with your guests. And so it's kind of cool.
Malcom, I got a question for you. Do you have something there? You were going to say something?
No, I was like, fire them at me.
Do you find a sweet spot for the amount of time, the length of your videos for YouTube? Is there a sweet spot that you found?
We found that, the average person's attention is usually about 7 to 10 minutes. So if we can keep our content in there, it does pretty good. Yeah. You're never going to get the watch rate of average people watching the whole video, because YouTube is constantly suggesting next stuff. They might put yours on, but they're scrolling to see what's next. So if we can keep them within that 7 to 10 minutes, it's kind of optimal for us. Now, some of mine do go longer, but it's just the nature of what I'm cooking. Some of it has a lot of steps. It takes a lot of time to do it. So you don't want to cut too much, because you want people to be able to duplicate what I'm showing. That's the main thing. If you look at my recipes, a lot of people that try them have really good success. And I think that's another thing that helps them. I'm cooking simple stuff. What I'm doing is not too chefy. It's not way out of the box.
Yeah.
most of the stuff you can substitute your favorite seasonings for. I don't try to push my products on people hard or anything. I mean,
But you should.
stuff.
They're so good.
Well, I mean, I do think I've got some good stuff, and I do use it every day. But I'm a firm believer. I try different people's stuff too. I know that there's
and on your videos, you seem to always say, "Hey, just use whatever you like." This is my stuff. This is what I like, and that way they don't feel sold to.
Like you're trying to. You're not putting a sales pitch on them, and that's what I like about it. But I do notice that what you're right about one thing, and Chad mentioned this earlier. Your pace and your style is so easy to follow, and it really makes you think by the time you click end on that video, I can do this, and you want to go get the stuff and start doing it because you make it look so easy. And then you know what people find out? It really is easy. You take the intimidation out of it, and I think that's why you've grown leaps and bounds, because how to barbecue right is dead on. But you can almost change it to how to barbecue right and easy. And so, so I think it's really cool. I think it's a gift that you have. And I think that's why so many people are attracted. So when did you see the highest level of growth? I mean, was there a certain moment or a certain year that you like, can you talk about how long it took you to get it? Has it been gradual, or did you have a gradual, and then a huge jump?
I would say for the first 6 years, it took me forever to get to 100,000. It probably took 6 years. This makes my 10th year. And then once we got to 100,000, the next year it was exponential. It was like 250, and then 500, and then 750. And then we knew we were going to hit 1 million this year just by the way the growth's going.
Yeah, and I think you hit $1 million about a month ago, right?
Yeah, last month. It was just a few
Guys,
weeks.
that's 1 million. That's 1 million subscribers, not views. That's subscribers.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That's
amazing.
Yeah, congratulations.
That's amazing. And so how many people do you have going to your website?
Oh, man. Well, it's like, I think a month we average a million views or something like that. Unique views and several million page views.
You sell 1 million shakers of rub every month?
Not quite.
He's like pretty close.
Some up, some down.
Yeah.
We did just land a huge Walmart deal. We're going in all the Walmarts. So
Awesome.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
We're excited about that. If we can keep up, that's the hard thing.
You'll figure it out.
And did they? Were they hard to deal with as far as pricing? Are you going to make some money on it, or
Walmart beats you up? I'm happy. Believe me, I'm happy. But it's it's a volume game with the store. With a big store like that, it's scary because I don't know how it's gonna. I know how it sells on my website, and I know so I've got hard numbers to look at. I can forecast what I'm going to do, but you have to meet a weekly sales quota per store, and if those rubs don't move on that shelf, they'll kick you right off. So that's what it's unknown. I'm lucky to get the chance. I hope we can keep up, and then it's up to me to keep people going to Walmart looking for it.
So remind me, did you put How to Barbecue Right on your label?
It's
Killer Hogs label.
It's on there for people to find it. That's kind of a funny thing. A lot of people will see Killer Hogs and not even know that's me. YouTube,
exactly.
Barbecue people know me as Killer Hogs. They don't know me as How to Barbecue Right. And then people, everyday backyards know me as How to Barbecue Right, not Killer Hogs. So I catch a lot of flack about using Killer Hog. Why would I want to use somebody else? Why don't I make my own stuff and use it?
That's funny, but it's the way you did it.
Yeah.
And so, but what I find amazing is there's a lot of people that, myself included, that I just came up with my sauces just because I wanted to be different. I wanted to use my own flavor profiles at my first competition, and I did pretty.
Years in here.
What's that?
I've got some of yours right behind me in the garage.
Oh, cool.
Nice. I'm glad. Thank you. But it ended up being, pretty good, and people were asking for it, but, and then we all market to everybody else on Facebook and on social media, but it's all to the same people. And it's funny because the competition, the pro barbecue circuit, is just a small, tiny particle compared to the world of barbecue. And what you did with How to Barbecue Right speaks to the entire barbecue world versus the niche of competition barbecue. And I think that's probably the smartest thing you could have done.
Well, I think that's what we're kind of trying to do too. But because, I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, fantasy football, while it's a growing,
it's a $1
every
billion
year,
industry.
it continuously grows, but it's still pretty niche. And by us bringing in, it's fantasy football, barbecue, bourbon, and beer.
Kind of like a man show.
I mean, it's, hopefully that works for us too. I think it will.
Yeah, we're kind of going to that whole lifestyle type of channel is what we're shooting for. And believe it or not, you're our first lifestyle guest.
Yeah,
and
man.
so, we have nowhere to go but down from here, boys.
Swing for the fences.
We're going to have Malcolm on every week.
We bring in some hunting and guns. I think y'all got it covered as far as men go.
All right.
Well, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that because we haven't made any announcements and we haven't made any final decisions. But once we kind of get taken off here a little bit, Malcolm, we all have other interests besides those 4 things. We like to hunt. We like to fish. We like to hike and camp and just all kind of fun stuff. Right now, we're pretty busy trying to launch what we've got, but maybe next year we start diving into some of those other things and documenting some hunts and some cool stuff,
Right. But so Malcolm, let's talk some football, buddy.
Hey, before you get into football, Malcolm, you got to tell me about this Gator.
Oh, hey, I learned something new. Yeah, I learned that. That was new to me.
So I've had gator tail, like, if you go to a Cajun restaurant or something, I'm around Nashville here, and I love it, and anytime I go down to Florida or something, I'll always order the gator tail, but it's always fried gator tail. And
it's got that little sauce, the spicy sauce.
And it's really good. But the way you guys did it, you guys smoked a whole gator. It was a 30-something pound gator. And then, so on the thumbnail on your video clip, it looked like the thing had all of its scales on it. When I first kind of clicked on there, because its head still did, I guess.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell has he done? So, but anyway, you tell me about this thing. How did y'all come up with this idea?
So I met the barbecue ninja, Craig Verhaga. He's a Mississippi guy. He lives down in Cleveland, which is probably 3 hours south of me down in the Delta.
Cool guy.
He gator hunts, and so he's cooked a lot of these things. And it was new to me. I've only had fried tail, in a sauce.
Kind of like us, yeah.
Yeah, same way. You see that on menus. But he called. I talked to him. I forget where we run across each other, but it was probably a contest or something. And he's like, "Man, you want to come do a gator for you?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" I want to learn. I want to see how to cook a whole gator. And he does the whole flamethrower thing, and that's part of his gig that he does. And so we got a gator, and I had it shipped to the house. He always gets them from a company down in Louisiana, and he called them, and they told him that they didn't have any. It was going to be a month before they processed it.
Wow. And
so I had recently talked to some folks down at Mossy Oak, and they're starting up this wild game division at Mossy Oak. And I called them and asked them, I said, "Hey, you guys happen to have a gator?" And he's like, "We sure do." "So you're going to do a video with it?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I'll ship it out tomorrow."
That's awesome.
And so
will they ship anywhere? Could I get one up here in Tennessee?
Yeah. It's gamekeeperbutchery.com. I don't get anything from it or anything.
No, that's all right. Yeah, I saw it on your video, but I just couldn't remember.
They'll ship it right to you. I mean, I don't have any idea how much it costs. They didn't charge me for it. So.
Yeah, we should do that next year at our HammerCast draft party.
Yeah, but gator is real neutral meat. I mean, if it's, and what a lot of people tell me that, gator's so fishy you don't want to eat it. It's all in how you process, clean it up before you cook it. It's just like anything else. You cook a chicken that's got a bunch of fat on it, or ribs that need trimming up, or any of that, you got to trim it up. So Craig showed me how you split the tail. It's got 4 muscles around that bone that runs through the center of it, and fat underneath it, inside it. You think the fat would be outside, but it's like really deep fat. And so once he cut all that out, it was just clean meat, and it had a texture of about like a pork loin. It took on the flavors of the smoke and the seasonings and the brine I soaked it in for 24 hours. So it was good. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way. It's a show thing. it's a whole showpiece. You know, if you want to impress some people that've never seen something different.
Or when Ole Miss plays Florida.
Yeah, we're playing Florida. You might see me down there in the Grove
cooking up some Gator.
Yeah. Hey man, that presentation on that piece was amazing.
Like, it did look awesome, dude. With those
and put the chicken in the mouth and did the whole thing. Man,
it's like the Low Country Boil stuff on. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
hey, last YouTube question I have for you, and we're going to get to football. Do you have an expectation on views now? I mean, do you put a video out and you say, man, that only got 150,000 views? Is that disappointing, or honestly, what is the deal on that?
I kind of know how it's going to go. I mean, I try to cook stuff that I like and that I think people will like, and some of it I know. Like, you know, I've done some recipes, some enchiladas or something like that I do on the grill, or something I know is not going to get a lot of views. I still think that people, when they watch it and they make it, that they really like the recipe, so it's worth it to me.
Yeah.
But I don't really do it for the views. I mean, the ones that do great, it's wonderful. But I really do it just so I can put stuff out there and hope it helps people.
That's cool.
Awesome. Great outlook.
Of course, I mean, I want them to get a lot of views, but I don't expect it.
I mean, ultimately, you know, that's kind of how we measure ourselves and our work.
Yeah.
And so,
the cool thing about it for me, just real quick before we move to football, like, you talked earlier about wanting to help people, right? Well, I'm one of those people. You know, I told you earlier before we started the show, I mean, I've been watching videos since the Yellow Kitchen days, and when I moved to Texas, I moved here for a job, and I didn't really know a lot of people. So I spent a lot of weekends just standing around the smoker and, you know, trying new things out. And you were that resource for me. And, like, you know, whether that video got 150,000 views or 1 million views or
well, you didn't care, did you? You were the one.
Because it was cataloged and available to me when I wanted to try something new. I would just look through your videos, and that sounds cool, you know, like, and I would try it. And you know, just me personally, like, being such a fan, I mean, I just want to say thanks for that, you know, much less being on our show with us, but, you know, thanks for being that resource that's available to me and, you know, millions of people like me. So, yeah.
And, you know, that's the great thing about YouTube is it's not like I'm just doing this one and done for views. Those stay cataloged, and people can go back and watch those early videos. And as people subscribe and they watch 4 or 5 of them, I've found that they'll send me messages, they'll send me emails, man, I've went back and watched all of them. And so that's the great thing about it's like no other social media, because YouTube is a social media platform, but it saves all your stuff and it's easy to find and it catalogs it. Facebook doesn't do that. Instagram doesn't do that. You know,
can you imagine the size of their data center?
Oh, it's huge. You know,
you go to Twitter or Instagram, you have to scroll forever to try to find something.
That's right.
And so, yeah, that's pretty cool.
And, you know, people, you know, it used to be a thing where, you know, people went to Google and it was the search engine. Well, now it's Google's turned into a verb. People used to say, "Oh, you want to look something up? Just Google." And YouTube has YouTube has become that. When people want to do something, they YouTube it. They don't, you know, it's not just a blatantly go to. They use it for a resource, and that's what's great about it to me.
If you want to learn how to rebuild a 1976 Kawasaki carburetor, you just YouTube it and you're going to get it.
I guarantee it. 12 people have done it. You know, it's very hard to find something not on YouTube.
I love
it. If you do, you might as well go ahead and do it and put it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Try to think of something that won't be on there and find it. Yeah. You know.
Hey, Malcolm, you want to talk some football?
I'm ready. It's draft time for me, man. I'm excited.
What about your league? Let's talk about your league.
Yeah, so I'm actually in a fantasy football league. I've probably been in it since 2005. So what's that, 15 years. And it's a bunch of guys that my wife went to Mississippi State with. And she moved actually from her hometown after college. She moved to Memphis because her buddies and friends that she went to state with were all from up here. I knew a few of them, but they were a little bit younger than me. And she introduced me to them, and they had an opening come up, and so I started playing with them. And I'm an Ole Miss fan, so I'm kind of the outcast. But we've been together it's 12 of us. We've been together a long time playing.
And what is the league construction? I mean, what kind of roster construction? We're high, hardcore, super flex, premium league guys on Twitter with all the analysts, and a lot of people don't realize that a large majority, just like the backyard people of barbecue, the large majority of people play 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a kicker, a defense. Do you still have all that?
Yeah, we play standard 12 person league PPR, 16 roster positions with the IR slot.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a flex, 1 quarterback, defense, kicker, tight end, and then we got the rest of them bench spots. It can be anything. We do. We started a dynasty keeper league 3 years ago, and we can keep 2 players. And they count as you have to have drafted them the year before, and they count as the spot ahead. Like
Right.
This year they count as the spot ahead of where I drafted them last year.
Okay. That's almost exactly like one of our leagues. Chad and I have been in one league this is our 20th year. Chad's been the commissioner every year. We have one just like that. Or that one is just like that.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. We have a good group of guys. A 12-team league makes it a little tough when you get down in those late rounds. There's not a lot to choose from, so you have to use a pretty good draft strategy. And then, of course, we have a waiver wire for pickups since we do keepers, and that makes it. You got to really watch who you're picking up, because if it gets so jammed up where you need somebody because of injuries, you could be down on the waiver wire, and so. It's a little tricky.
Well, we got some news today that David Montgomery for the Bears went down, and at first, I mean, the news right now just goes out like wildfire in our community. Within minutes of him falling down, people were saying, "Oh, rest in peace, Montgomery," whatever,
Hey, I did that one time to Philip Lindsay when they signed Melvin Gordon, and his whole family beat me up on Twitter.
Oh my gosh, that was
his wife,
hilarious.
his mother, they were all ripping on me. And Philip Lindsay liked the post.
So Malcolm, is the one that you're drafting in this weekend, is that that one, the keeper league, or is this a different one?
It is, yeah.
So
who are you keeping?
Yeah.
I'm keeping Austin Eckler as a 4th-round pick, running back, and I'm also keeping George Kittle for a 7th-round pick.
Woo!
Eckler's going off the board in the 1st or 2nd round in most leagues, and Kittle's going off as probably the number 1 tight end. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially this year with all those receivers down, he's going to be the primary, the secondary, and the 3rd target. And
he did really good for me last year.
I like those 2, and I understand you have the 1st pick this year.
I do. I finished 3rd last year, so I had a pretty good number of balls in the little lottery. So
okay, so that's how you did it.
Mine came out first, so I got the 1st pick. So.
Nice.
So you're going to go into the 2nd round with Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, and George Kittle.
Already, yeah.
Not a bad start.
It's not a bad start. If I can get a decent wide receiver, which all the mocks I'm doing, it's looking like Tyler Lockett's falling to me if it goes off like I think. And then, I'll probably I'll get a follow-back pick. So I don't know if I'm going to go receiver or 3rd running back yet. It just depends on who's on the board.
Yeah, so you're going to get
– let me tell you something. The 3 of us, we've done 20 drafts this year.
Oh, we're going to have fun.
We have
with
a lot
this,
of leagues, and we host a lot of leagues. And we even do Devy leagues where you can draft college players and let them go through your system.
But you got to go one down there at Ole Miss, your running back, Ely.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to be a stud if he stays healthy.
But
Ole Miss,
we are running back heavy drafters, and we've had drafts where we'll draft 4 running backs the first 4 draft picks, and because receivers so deep, and so Chad has actually done 5 running backs out of 6 rounds, and but some of those leagues are deeper roster leagues.
Not everybody
positions.
Drafts the way we typically do, but
right. Some people play a 0 running back draft where they don't take a running back till the 5th or 6th round, and we just can't. We don't believe in that. I don't anyway.
So I guess Malcolm, has everybody already turned in their keepers?
Yeah. We have everybody's keepers.
So who's going to be available in that 2nd round, I guess, or who's going to be gone. I mean,
yeah, I know who. Yeah, that's how I know Lockett's pretty much fallen to me. Unless something crazy shakes up and somebody. I mean, most of the guys in my league don't make crazy picks.
Yeah,
everybody's running a program of some sort.
Yeah, you've been in it 15 years. They know what they're doing.
So where do you get a lot of your fantasy information? I mean, do you have a website you go to, or?
Guys, I do the Draft Dominator for football guys. I've been using it.
I love those guys.
Yep.
And it's been great to me. I mean, they've got some good research, a bunch of different takes.
So are you a subscriber with them?
I do, yeah. I actually pay the $39 or whatever it is.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it is, man.
It's so worth it.
Yeah.
They do weekly rankings based on that week's projected stats, and I love that. But I've been with those guys for 10 years.
Yeah.
And they're good dudes.
I like Lockett. I've got him in a few of my leagues. Some people are saying that Metcalf is going to take over as the number one. I don't think so.
Well, he's an Ole Miss guy, but he's a keeper. Somebody's keeping him late for like a 13th round pick.
Yeah,
so.
That's a great play.
Yeah, he's a keeper in our league too.
How did Ole Miss not win a championship with AJ Brown and DK Metcalf on the same team?
Oh yeah, that was coaching.
I actually wanted Metcalf for the Titans.
Yeah.
We're Titans fans, but
yeah.
when I saw that picture,
Brown turned into be a heck of a receiver last
they're
year.
both awesome. Yeah,
if he could do that. I mean, he's averaging 20 yards a catch at Tennessee. That's unbelievable. And
I don't think he's going to be able to sustain that. His point per target was so high that it has to come down. But even if it comes down, if he gets more targets, he could still have a great season. He's just not going to have that efficiency that he had last year. We did a big report. As a matter of fact, we have one of our first YouTube videos or podcast really talks about the top 10 and the bottom 10 points per target receivers. And he was at the highest efficiency rating of all the receivers in the NFL last year. And it's just unsustainable when guys like Julio Jones and Hopkins and all these studs are at like 1.89 and he's at 2.50. And so it's pretty interesting stuff.
Well,
I'm telling you, I got my eyes on, and it's a rookie that's going to do the same thing I'm hoping that he did last year. He's in Denver. I know y'all know him, Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, Jerry Jeudy.
He's a stud.
He's got a quarterback with a strong arm there. And I think that you got to watch him this year. I think he's going to go off the board fairly early. I think somebody will, probably jump on him. But
how many championships have you won in this 15-year league?
I've been playing with these guys. The league's been together a lot longer. They've been back in the days where it was all on paper when these guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's some of them that have never won, and some of them never made the playoffs. It's been that competitive.
Wow.
I've won it twice. And
Nice.
You won it twice?
Made it to the playoffs every year, I think. So
Nice.
I've fared up against these state boys. I've done okay.
Man, I tell you, the
It's like,
keeper
how do we
league
keep
is
inviting
tough.
this guy back? Hey, what do you guys do for like prize structure? Is it money? Is it a funny trophy? Is there a loser punishment?
We played 1, 2, and I think 3 gets a little payout. I got a little payout last year.
Yeah.
And then we have a last place, and they get a last place trophy too. It's like this donkey doing a kick or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like the Jackass trophy or whatever.
Yeah, right.
They're getting really creative now on last place trophies and last place punishments. And I've heard everything from tramp stamp tattoos to having to do a Sports Illustrated the body swimsuit calendar pose.
Why don't we get a fine on one butt cheek and swine on the other butt cheek? Fine
And
swine, baby.
So it's kind of fun to watch and see some of these last place. It definitely prevents you from tanking a league if you don't want that last place punishment.
Luckily, I've never finished last. So I got my figure. If I go from first pick to last place finish, I'll be upset.
Malcolm,
I've finished last with that start you got. So
Now,
Malcolm, I've won several leagues, but I've never won this 20-year league. I've never won it.
Yeah.
I've been at 20 years. I played in the Fine Swine League last year, and that was like
go ahead.
candy from
he
baby.
won. He won.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Y'all go ahead while I pull out my jewelry.
Here we go.
Every
Here we
time.
go.
Every time.
Man, I forgot to put it on. I was going to put it on.
Hey, part of our intro is, do you want to have so many championship rings you can't sign autographs?
Yeah.
To listen to the HammerCast. But we do talk a lot of fantasy football. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah, you wear that when you go out clubbing, don't you?
Yeah, no, that sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Dave.
So what's your team name? Killer Hogs or
Max Monsters.
what?
Max Monsters.
Max Monsters.
Yeah.
There you go.
What's the story behind that?
Everybody calls me Big Mac, so
Okay, I got you.
came up with it. monsters of the Midway. I just kind of
There you go.
went with it.
Now, do you have obviously you're an Ole Miss boy? What about do you have a team that you have allegiance to in the NFL?
Man, and I catch a lot of flack for this. I've been a Vikings fan since 1986.
Was it the uniforms?
No, well, kinda. I was a kid, and my dad, I don't know where he got them, but they were having a preseason game in Memphis for some reason for the Liberty Bowl. They played the Chiefs. He had some tickets and took us to a game, and that was the first pro game that me and my brother ever experienced. And we were drawn. For some reason, we were sitting on the Vikings side that day, and we just picked the Vikings and have been Vikings fans ever since. And
It's funny how that happens. Yeah.
That's a pretty neat story.
Yeah.
Well,
We lived in Memphis, and my dad took us to St. Louis, and we went up in the arch on a Sunday, and we were at the top of the arch looking out, and the St. Louis Cardinals were playing the Dallas Cowboys.
That's hilarious.
And Jimmy Hart was the quarterback, number 17. And it was everything was all about St. Louis, and I became a St. Louis Cardinal fan. And I remember my very first jersey that year for Christmas. I got a St. Louis Cardinal jersey with number 17, Jimmy Hart. And it's just,
Did they call him the Hitman also?
No, they didn't. But that was just it's the kind of story. It's my first experience seeing a pro game, even though I wasn't even at the game, and so I got caught up in that. But I've had a lot of friends of mine that are friends of the Vikings, and they said they were a kid and they saw them and they just thought the uniform was cool.
Yeah.
Because
Malcolm, you could probably trade back and maybe pick up another pick and slide into that Dalvin Cook slot.
Yeah, I probably could, but I don't like to roll with the Vikings in fantasy. If it's just something about having Viking, I mean, I have had some, but I don't like to. It just makes me.
I got a
now,
tip.
are you
for
guys allowed to trade picks in the draft?
We can. You don't see it very often.
Yeah.
You can't. It's not off the board. But in fact, I can hardly. I don't even know if I remember a time where it's happened.
We
do you
never
draft
did
quarterback late?
I typically do, just because where I'm going to be, there's no good quarterbacks falling to me. I'm going to be somewhere around I'll probably get the 10th or 11th place quarterback in our league, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I'm
Malcolm,
with you.
here's your HammerCast tip. Don't draft Judy in the 7th round. Wait till the 12th or 13th and pick up Justin Jefferson.
I like Jefferson now from
Or
LSU,
Rager.
and he's
Or
gonna
Rager, but he's a
play
Vikings
big.
boy, so
And I've got him falling way down to like 11.
yeah.
And if I can get him there, I'm hoping that he's got some speed, he's got hands.
Well, right now he's behind Beasley Johnson on the depth chart, and Beasley's running with the first. But I still believe that Jefferson's going to take that job and run with it.
I think
he's
so,
far
too.
superior, talented player.
Well, and the thing is, it's a keeper league, So if it was straight up redraft, it'd be, I don't know. You might pick him up later on, even than that, if he was still there. But for a keeper league, he could be just like Metcalf next year.
Maybe next year's next
I
year.
can see it. I mean, LSU's receiver university, they put out some great ones.
Odell
Got
Beckham,
some
baby.
coming up too.
I think Odell Beckham's going to have he's got the blonde hair again, so I think he's due for a
Is that the key?
Odell Beckham.
yeah.
I don't know. I had Juice last year, Landry on my team.
Yeah.
He's
consistent.
A lot of them, so I kind of lean towards him. I
That helps
noticed
you get that third spot. That's good.
they've got OBJ coming off way early in the mocks I've been doing, and I would actually skip over him.
Well, I'll tell you, in real life drafts that we've done a bunch of them this year, he is sliding pretty deep, like
Really?
way deeper than you would ever, had seen him slide before.
He's going into the 4th round.
Yeah.
Now we're going to give you one more thought, and we've got a whole video on this. And if you want to watch the video, I would appreciate it. It's a whole video dedicated to why we believe Jonathan Taylor is going to finish as a potential top 5 running back this year.
As a rookie.
And we're big believers in Jonathan Taylor. I believe in his talent. I believe in his metrics, and these guys do too. If you start seeing him in that 3rd or 4th round, if he starts slipping, trust me, he is going to slay it.
He might be on that turn.
The best
in the 3rd
offensive
round.
line in the league, and he is clearly the best player on that team, and he's going to kill it.
Yeah, so Malcolm, you're going to have that turn, that last pick in the 2nd, and then the turn on the 3rd, right?
Yeah, I get both those. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get Taylor and a guy like Lockett, or even a guy like gosh, there's a lot of good receivers that could be
We
available.
believe
I don't
that
know
Taylor
your
will
keepers.
finish way ahead of CEH, and CEH now is going in the first round. But I wouldn't draft Taylor in the first round because you don't have
Well,
to.
you don't have to typically, but second round.
I look for those that fall back that people may not jump on.
Yeah,
right.
That's the ones. They're going to take those early draft picks a lot of times. Those,
right.
But if you can catch somebody that'll slip down like that and get them in a steal in a keeper league, that can make you for 2 or 3 years.
Right. Well, the fact that you're going to have Eckler and Kittle already, and you're getting CMC, boy, if you can get a guy like DJ Moore,
you're loaded.
And a guy like Jonathan Taylor at the turn, I would take DJ Moore over Lockett.
I bet DJ Moore's. I bet he's a keeper.
Is DJ?
He's off the board.
Yeah, because
he's gonna have a big
any guys
year.
like that broke out last year, or
have way too much value in a keeper.
Yeah, because you're going to have 24 keepers off the board, right? That's the equivalent of the first 2 rounds.
It really is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, good. Well, I know Chad is our token steak guy.
Oh yeah, so we're going to move on from the fantasy. I guess we're about to wrap up here.
We're going to get you off here, and you've been grateful enough with your time. But and I'm telling you, our viewers are going to really love this. But Chad, he is the king of the grill. I'm the smoker. I'm the pit guy. But when it comes to steaks, he does it all. But he's a big fan of you. Talk about a little bit about. Well, Chad, you go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, I've watched. I'm pretty sure every video about steaks that you have out there. From ribeyes to tomahawk ribeyes to porterhouse to picanha. So I just kind of wanted to get your take on, personally, what is your favorite cut of steak, and then your preferred technique as for reverse sear or traditional or cold searing. Like what would you do if you were just making a steak for yourself?
We usually have steak at least once a week at my house. Nice. And it's hard to pick my favorite one. It just depends on what mood I'm in. But I find myself cooking more ribeyes than anything. I mean, it's ribeye, you got the fat, you got the marbling, you got the spinalis that wraps around the end. It's super tender, and then you kind of got the loin, the center part of it. So it's all around. It's got to be my favorite steak.
Cool.
I don't overcomplicate it. I'm a serum kind of guy. Now, if I'm cooking a giant steak over 2 inches, I'm probably going to do reverse sear, bring it up slow, and then finish it off. But I like a ribeye that's about 16 to 18 ounces. That's usually about 1.25 inches thick, maybe a little bit thicker. Mm-hmm. That's what I cook. I keep it simple. I don't do a whole lot to them. Salt, pepper, garlic's my friend on steaks. I get me a 500-degree fire going, and I'm a 2-minute, flip it, 2-minute, 2-minute man.
Yeah.
It's usually medium rare, and I might hit it with a little bit of melted butter or compound butter or something at the end. But I keep it pretty simple, man. I want to taste the beef. I want to taste the char of the grill. I like cooking it over coals, and and I like to let it rest a little bit. And it's hard to beat I put my ribeye up against anybody's doing that.
I love that, man. That's awesome.
I told my wife last week, I said, if I could only choose one thing to eat the rest of my life, it's a ribeye steak. And it's the only steak I prefer to eat. At this point in my life, life's too short to eat anything but ribeye. That's just the way I am.
Hey, man,
I'll tell you something else. Like when I was growing up, we didn't get to choose how we had our steak cooked for us.
Yeah. Everything came out the grill done.
So, yeah, it was done. And the ribeye, actually, it was if we had one, you better get the ribeye. Because
when I was a kid, it was sirloins. It was tough sirloins.
That's what I grew up on, Dave.
Yeah.
Yep.
We always Dad might have got the ribeye or the porterhouse. We got the cheap sirloin.
That's right. They were tough. You put ketchup on them. I'm just kidding.
I'll tell you, man. I recently, saw your picanha cook, and I did a Wagyu MB7 picanha, and man, it changed my life. It was amazing. And so, like, I'm like you. I think I'd still probably go ribeye if I'm choosing one, but man, that picanha gave it a run for its money. That's for sure.
Picanha may be one of the best pieces of meats. A Wagyu picanha may be one of the best pieces of meats I've ever put in my mouth, because the way the fat in it and the way you get it rendered and hot and melt the coals and the fat almost liquefy, but it stays together. Then you bite into it, medium rare to medium rare. it's like heaven. It really is.
Do you ever watch that guy on YouTube? It's called Sous Vide Everything.
I've seen it. Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
a huge fan of sous vide, man.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, and you'll appreciate this. Malcolm is a huge steak off. You went on a run a few years ago where you were winning a lot of these steak. You had it figured out. You were dialed in. And I just started getting into the sous vide thing. And I went and did a steak competition up in Green Bay, and there was like 70 teams. And I said, for the hell of it, I'm going to do this. And I did a sprig of rosemary, and I did all this stuff. And I used Heath Riles, jalapeno, salt and pepper. Yeah. And I used that. And then I used his steak rub after that, his beef rub. And I sous vide it the whole time. And then I took it out and I just put it on. I just seared it. Really, when I cook a steak now for a competition, I just use the charcoal chimney with a grill grate. I don't even use a grill. I got a PK and I use the grill. Because all the energy goes straight up that charcoal chimney. And I'll just do it right on that. And I'll use the duck fat spray and all that stuff. But I got third place steak.
Didn't even bring
my first time using the sous vide. And they don't look good. You have to sear them hard because they come out gray. Yeah. And so, but that was the only time I ever placed doing that. I only did it a few times, but I'll just grill it from this point on. But it was a phase I went through.
Funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, Malcolm, this has been amazing. Like I said, we're not going to get 10 million views on this video, but maybe in about 15 years we might have 100,000. I don't know. Who knows? I'm going to be optimistic. But we appreciate you coming on. We're gonna be able to share this to our group, and I think we're going to have a lot of people that are interested in content creation, and they're going to learn that it takes, like you said, it took you 6 years to get 100,000 views or subscribers.
Yeah.
And then it really starts, escalating. And I think that's important. People can't get impatient. They have to understand that it's a process. It takes time. You have to build
and everybody right now during this COVID, everybody's trying to do it.
Yeah.
And, so it does. Yeah, it's a grind. And
it is.
We learned that.
Trust me, you'll get there. Just keep doing it.
Well, we enjoy it. And that's the biggest thing is it's fun for us.
We're like you. We're buddies having a good time.
Yeah.
And
cool.
And we hope it goes somewhere. And but we're having a good time. We believe that we put up pretty good content. We put a lot of grinding in when it comes to the fantasy football stuff, but adding the barbecue element, talking about bourbon and beer and doing reviews and bringing in the hunting and fishing and stuff like that. Like I said, we're going to try to turn this into a lifestyle channel. Any tips or tricks from you would be amazing. And I might call on you privately on that, but it just means so much that you're our first guest.
Yeah. Well,
and it's been really cool.
It's been a lot of fun, guys. I've enjoyed it, man. Anytime I get to talk fantasy football, I don't get to do it enough. Yeah. I'm happy to do it. And if there's anything I can do to help, man, y'all don't hesitate to give me a shout.
Well, if we ever get to have fans at the games again, maybe we'll come down and do a tailgate with you and have an on-site. That'll be fun.
I'll bring the trailer down. We'll tailgate.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Have Malcom Reed there.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well,
Malcolm, we've taken your time, man. We're blessed. We're honored. Thank you. Next time we need to have your wife on. She seems to be the true star.
There you go.
Hey, I will not, I agree wholeheartedly with that comment.
Yeah. Well, you can find Malcom Reed again. Just Google Malcom Reed. You can Google how to barbecue right. You can Google killer hogs. All of those things. Malcolm is a star, and it's just fantastic to have him on tonight. Thank you, Malcolm. Guys, thank you so much. Hey, if you like what you heard here, go over to HammerCast.com, subscribe to the Hammer Nation, and then make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Right now, we do have giveaways every month. And, guys, they are awesome stuff. They're all signed, authenticated jerseys or footballs or different things from your favorite players. Yep. Go in there and help us out. Thank you.
There's a few days left. If you sign up for Hammer Nation before the end of the month, you have your if you get picked, you're going to get a choice of a Kenny Golladay signed jersey, a Devontae Adams signed helmet, or a
Allen
Robinson signed jersey.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be giving away your choice of that. So please sign up for the newsletter, and we appreciate that.
Yep. Appreciate you guys. Catch you next time. Till next time, keep grinding. Bye. Boom.
Did you get all that? If not, make sure you head over to HammerCast.com, subscribe, and join the Hammer Nation. Until next time, keep grinding.